Hey guys, Ethrion here from Langrisser C. I'm from the Guild Legion Squad, and today I will be hopefully making the last part of the Langrisser Mobile Beginner's Guide, which is the one that you're watching now. And this will go over basic team recommendations for players who are first starting out now after the Year 1 update, as well as your path of PvE progression that you will expect to take over the next few weeks to months. So, the main principles involved for PvE progression will basically be to base your team of heroes that you bring into battle and they choose to level up and develop, ideally of one main faction or two at most. I did not cover factions, but I'll do it now. Basically, factions are what you see here, where they have a faction allegiance of protagonist and Legion of Glory for Matthew, for example. Obviously, you will also want a good spread of tank, DPS, and healer roles in your team. And having just finished the tutorial missions, this is what you are given. Grenier is your tank, Almeda is your healer, and Matthew is an obvious DPS unit. And the heroes are as such. So, I recommend to start the Legion of Glory as you can see on the screen because you get the free heroes of Grenier, Matthew, Almeda, and in fact even Lance and Scott both all belong to the Legion of Glory as you can see here. So the game really pushes you towards the Legion of Glory as a starting faction, and the faction buff, which is a map-wide buff or a map-wide beneficial effect for all Faction of Glory members, can be unlocked at level 35 by Grenier, where he can cast Dream of Light to increase all Legion of Glory allies attack and defense by 20%. Not only that, don't forget that new players also have the Path of Light event. And yes, I did create this account just to shoot this video. The Path of Light event actually gives you a free SSR hero in the form of Sherry at the end of the event. And she is a big upgrade over Lance because her talent is that once she kills something, she can move again and attack again immediately before your enemy has a chance to react. So I think you can see why she is very effective. In fact, the Path of Light event even comes with an SSR weapon for her in the form of the Last Knight. So this is a very good starting backbone for your PvE team if you go with the Legion of Glory, simply because of what is handed to you. And because our main protagonists, Matthew, Grenier, and Almeda are different, what actually happens is that as they progress on in the story and the time race, they will actually upgrade their quality and their stats from N to R to SR, and eventually they will end up as free SSR heroes in terms of stat balancing. Not only do the starting heroes given to you by the game suggest a Legion of Glory playstyle, what's also new after year 1 is that you have two specific newbie banners or new player banners for the first 15 days of play, where you get Ledin and Tiaris, and Leon and Lana. Ledin is, not to use exaggerated terms, but he's basically one of the best tanks that you can have for PvE. He crushes all melee enemies with his unique talent of being able to attack twice, and Tiaris is basically his best friend. What happens is that Ledin will counter-attack an enemy that hits your team, he'll kill that enemy, and Tiaris' talent of Healing Light will heal him back to full health or near full health for him to continue doing this forever, as long as there are melee enemies attacking and assuming he is built strong enough. So I would highly suggest new players to pull on this banner because it will make your PvE progress a lot easier. The other new player banner is not so critical, but it's still very useful. Leon is one of the best cavalry units you can have in the game. He's very useful for PvE with his ability to attack and retreat after attacking. And Lana is also a very good offensive magical DPS unit. And actually, with the new player banners that were introduced into the game after the year 1 update, there used to be this terminology in the Chinese servers called the Grand 8 Heroes of PvE. They were, and basically if you have these 8 SSR heroes, they'll make your PvE life a lot easier. You can see that the new player banners introduced actually already give you 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 out of the grand 8 heroes that are very highly recommended for PvE. And this is obviously no accident. This was by design by the game designers, because they know how important these heroes are to your PvE progression, and that's why they are offering this as a new player banner. Of course, these heroes are not free, and you will need to spend Trinity tickets, Trinity crystals, and Trinity vouchers in order to summon for them. But honestly, as a new player. Even though these are rate up banners and not focus banners, it's hard to go wrong with the heroes on offer, especially the Ledin and Tiaris banner, which is a very, very, very strong starting banner. Alright, now having rambled on about PvE, team building recommendations, all that, let's talk about your PvE progression stages. So from levels 1 to 34, you're not going to have anything to complicate matters apart from leveling your heroes up and improving their class mastery along the way, such as I showed in one of the previous videos. So just level them up with XP potions, keep their classes upgraded, and you will crush most content up to level 34. Level 35 and 40 is where things get complicated with the introduction of faction buffs. Another nice thing about Ledin and fielding a Legion of Glory team is that Ledin himself is actually a faction buffer for the Legion of Glory, and so he really ties everything together. So the game sort of expects you to have the faction buff, and the stats of your enemies are balanced accordingly. So if you do not have the faction buff and you do not base your team around 1 or 2 factions so that it's easily buffable, you are going to run in a difficulty brick wall. The other part of the difficulty brick wall is that this is the time when the game starts throwing tier 3 troops at you. And what I mean by tier 3 troops is, for example, your Ledin might still be using the weaker tier 2 troops. You can see the tiers over here. Tier 2 troops such as elite infantry or elite lancers, but the game, it will be throwing tier 3 troops at you, which will crush your troops in battle. And so from level 35 to 40 is of critical importance to try to unlock as many tier 3 troops as you can for your DPS and for your tank units, so that they can do damage and survive better. And that is more or less the reason why there's a difficulty brick wall from levels 35 to 40. If you make it over that hump, levels 40 to 60 or to 70 for that matter, is basically a slow steady progression where you slowly upgrade your hero stats, classes, equipment, so on and so forth in a never ending cycle to clear harder and harder content. So for levels 40 to 60, you will be trying to clear harder and harder levels of the Anarchy's Gym so that you can upgrade your troops more. You will also be trying to do harder and harder, more and more higher levels of the dragons so that you can get better and better loot. Generally, a quick introduction to dragons is that the dragons themselves take a lot more damage from their advantage classes. So for the Dark Dragon, for example, you can see that cavalry, flyers, and assassin units do better against the Dark Dragon. For the Fire Dragon, there's no type advantage to speak of. For the Ice Dragon, he deals it's better to bring range units against him because there's a 90% damage reduction whenever he is hit in melee range. And lastly, the Thunder Dragon, which comes on Wednesdays and Saturdays, has a weakness to infantry and lancer heroes, so it's your time for infantry and lancer heroes to shine against him. So that is the next step, which is basically doing more and more difficult anarchies and dragons in order to upgrade your team more, because ultimately, even though you have the best strategies involved, if you don't have the stats to back them up, you are still not going to clear that particular piece of content. So once you're done clearing up to level 50, level 55, level 60 anarchies, and level 55, 60 dragons, you've got your team reasonably well upgraded. The next jump in difficulty, or the next region to conquer, will be the Eternal Temple. The Eternal Temple is where you get your Center Heart bonds to upgrade your heroes further. And for the Eternal Temple, it will demand that you build even more heroes than what you have built so far, because each of the Eternal Temple has a favored faction allegiance. These heroes get a big stat boost in this map, which makes it a lot more doable. And so most likely it's the Eternal Temple that's going to force you to diverge away from the Legion of Glory and to start investing in other factions so that you can clear this in a timely fashion. Once you're done with the Eternal Temple, at least level 60 and level 65, you can think about challenging the ultimate challenge that there exists in PvE currently, which is the Ancient Beckoning, which are even more difficult bosses as compared to the Eternal Temple bosses, with very intricate mechanics. Each of them also has a favored faction, as you can see, and it is very, very, very important. It's almost impossible to bring off faction units for these Ancient Beckoning bosses, and they give you class mastery stones, which you take your heroes to the highest levels of power that exist in the game. So that is basically your standard PvE progression from start to finish, and this in of itself will take you several months, if not up to a year, depending on how much time and money you spend on the game. There is a lot of content, and these progression stages that are written in 5 short lines will last you for many months to come. Of course, as veterans, we did this over the course of 1 year, so don't be in a rush to finish all this. This is a game after all. Do play it for your enjoyment. Last but not least, we have limited time PvE events that reset every week in the form of Timeless Trial, and every month in the monthly events that come in your secret realm. So what is Timeless Trial? Timeless Trial is basically a set of maps that reset every week, and that give you very nice recurring rewards such as bonding keys, crystals, Trinity vouchers, etc. And it's always worth trying out the Timeless Trial as early as you can. The stamina cost for attempting Timeless Trial maps isn't very high, at only 5 stamina per map, so do attempt them even when you're first starting out, to see how far you can clear them. It doesn't matter if you can't clear all the way, just get whatever reward you can, because it's basically free and resets every week. And lastly, there will always be monthly PvE challenges in the secret realm, which you will see in the limited time event. And the Forbidden Battleground itself is this month's event, where you can get more stuff from achievements, more stuff from the Forbidden Store, and these limited time events normally have very good loot. They give you bonding keys, anarchy materials, SSR items, weapons, armor, etc. Sometimes they even give you free heroes, which are oftentimes very good and very usable by all players in the game. So do not pass up on limited time events. The minimum level you need to take part in these events usually is level 30 for the farming maps, but for plot quests, most of the time plot quests are using the game's units, not your own units, so players of any level will be able to take part. So do follow along YouTube videos for guides on how to clear these PvE challenges, because these are free rewards that you shouldn't pass up. The last thing to mention is Twisted Fate, which is the other PvE event, and these are areas where you basically go through different stories of characters, and the main draw is to get secret realm points, challenge points. What you can exchange these points for are exclusive items. So each hero has their own unique item, which gives them a special benefit which no other hero can benefit from. For example, this is Lambda's special item, and that's where you exchange your secret realm points or your controllers for. And so it is important to get to this. Most of the time, these secret realm items are the best in slot for whichever hero can equip them. For example, Ledin's weapon, the Trial of Faith, is most likely his best in slot, because it gives him what he is lacking as compared to other tanks, which is a revive mechanic, and I'm going to buy it now. So, yeah. So that is basically, once you've put everything together from the previous few videos, this is what you'll be doing for the next few weeks to months to come in terms of PvE progression. And I hope that you guys find this game as enjoyable and as rewarding as I have over the last 14 months, and that it brings you many hours of enjoyment. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments below, or to join the Langrisser C Discord and ask us there. And yeah, as always, I hope this video has been helpful, useful, and entertaining. And this is Ethrion, signing off.